We're going to talk about clarity that calms the storm. And we've noticed that a lot of people are going through chaos and confusion and things that are just not settling. So we went through it as well.
Yeah, we recently moved to a new address, and we had clarity on the fact that this move is right and it's timely. It feels good in our spirit. We knew it's going to be a lot of hard work. In the middle of this move, it would have been not easy to get overwhelmed. And in some ways, we kind of did feel a little bit overwhelmed, but because we had clarity on the direction we're going, we pushed through. The physical hard work, we pushed through it.
And having a deadline.
We had a deadline. We had defined where we're moving to. We had the why defined, and we had the deadlines defined. And once you have that, the little decisions in between that can feel frustrating and overwhelming when things don't go quite according to plan aren't going to they're not going to sabotage you as quickly. And I've been noticing a theme this week of a lot of people have been reaching out to us, and those that we're also working with, that they're frustrated with the search for a job. Things just not working, and it's just doors are shut and they can't get them to open for them, or finding apartments and the overwhelm of how prices are high, and not being able to find or being challenged with the balance of a price that you like and also getting the quality that you want. And so we just noticed that there's a general theme of frustration in the body of Yeshua, and overwhelmed, a lack of clarity. And I'd like to center this message around the clarity part. How do you get clarity? When we don't have clarity, we assume a lot of things, right? So here's 3 questions that you can ask yourself that help you get clarity, okay? And I'd like to have you share a little bit about the story. Maybe it will launch into anything. Do you have anything to share before I share these 3 three tips here? So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Some things that we've noticed that also rises up in our lives too is that you start questioning, am I doing the right thing? Is this from God? Is this really what I need to do? Especially when other people come and they share their opinion, they share what they think about what you're doing. Is this the right thing that they think is the right thing or not? And then of course, if you are not clear, or if you don't know your why, it's easy to just get confused and say, oh, yeah, right, is it? Am I not on the right track? Well, instead of that, it's just stay focused and patient on what you're doing, and just keep going forward. And people will come. People will share their opinions. But you need to remember why you're doing what you're doing. And that's...
You bring up an excellent point. And I even see this in some of the clients we're working with, and getting into relationships. So they are in a relationship. Because they don't have clarity. Or if you don't have clarity in anything, whatever you are moving forward and making decisions on, if you lack clarity, what happens is you lack confidence therein as well. You don't have decisions clearly made. And guess what? Everyone is eager to give you advice on the thing that you don't have clarity on. Yeah. We all love to bring clarity to other people by giving them our opinion and our advice and what we would do. However, until you really walk in somebody's shoes
and know them
and really understand their thought process, all the details of what they're dealing with, we're coming from an outside perspective, which can have its benefits. That's why we seek outside counsel, because they're not all tied up in the emotional entanglement that we might be experiencing. So that it can be good. At the same time, if you're lacking clarity and you don't know how to get it, you're going to take advice and opinions from people that are just going to bring more confusion in the process. because they themselves don't understand how to get clarity. So you want to ask questions from a person who understands how to get clarity.
Right.
That being said,
and then if you are the one that's giving advice, instead of giving advice, ask questions to pull things out of them so that they answer their own things that they are going through. That's more helpful.
Best way to help somebody get clarity is to ask good questions, to pull it out of them, out from their spirit, because especially if they're born again believers, the Holy Spirit within them and their spirit already knows the answer. They just don't know how to extract it. So you can pull that out with really good, solid questions to seek to understand, right? So that being said, so here's 3 questions you can ask yourself. I made some notes here on my phone beforehand that I'll just read off. 3 questions you can ask yourself if you're struggling with getting clarity on moving forward with whatever you're doing. Number 1, what do I actually know for sure right now? Facts. This helps separate facts from assumptions and calms mental overload.
Very good.
If we don't have clarity, we're going to make a lot of assumptions, and we're going to go run away, let feelings and emotions drive our decisions instead of actually, well, what's really true here? Number 2, what's the next small step I can take today? Clarity comes through motion, not waiting for a perfect plan.
Yes.
This breaks paralysis, okay? So when we're stuck in an emotional mental loop of overwhelm, the best thing we can do is just get to work.
Yeah.
Go, like, what is the most productive thing I could, what could I do to get myself a win the quickest?
Towards that direction.
Yes.
That you go.
It could just be organizing a corner or something that makes you feel like I accomplished something, and it switches you over into that productivity mode, and then you launch on from there. Number 3, what might God be inviting me to learn, release and let go of, or realign in this moment?
Yes.
This shifts your focus from pressure to purpose and brings spiritual insight into the process. And dare I say, remember community.
Yes.
Are you part of a community that's supportive and aligned with your why and your purpose and the direction that you're going in? That's very helpful. If you don't have that, it is actually much more difficult to get clarity when you're alone. I'm not talking about shutting out all other voices and just tuning into the Holy Spirit and maybe a mentor that you trust. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the type of community that brings connection.
Yes.
That connection where you're part of something bigger than yourself. That can also help with not needing to do it all alone.
Yeah.
Because if you're a loner in the hills, you're going to have to... Like, if you're outside of community, think of a hillbilly out in the hill living off the land. There's a lot of work involved in that, because now you got to do everything. But if you're part of a community where you combine your strengths, your gifts and your skills and talents, now you can contribute towards one another and have more fulfillment in the things that you enjoy, and you trade your apples for somebody's spinach. Maybe you don't enjoy. I'm using this. I just made this up on the fly. Maybe you don't enjoy growing oranges, but you love growing spinach, and your neighbor doesn't like growing spinach, but they love to grow oranges. Well, then you swap, right? And you're both happy. That's the most simple analysis of how a community can help you, body, soul, and spirit. So,
yeah, I love that. And as we focus on the singles, most of the time, we do have that community of single to married, where they gather together in the virtual way and then in the also physical way. They support each other, get to know each other, also practice together as singles on what it looks like to get to know someone on a deeper level without going dating, but becoming best friends, becoming friends. Get to know a person to know them as a friend, and there's so much more to that, obviously. As you heard, people are looking for jobs and apartments and other things.
Girlfriends, boyfriends.
Yeah, and this is amazing because when you get to know somebody on a deeper level, you can help somebody. You can refer, you can connect people. There's so much that community brings to the table. and it makes life easier. That's how God created us to be, right? In the community. God comes as an already community, as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And we are like that too. It's better to be with someone than alone, because then you can move forward quickly into the mission, into the purpose, into that clarity. And together you can achieve more things.
Life is better together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, yeah, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Be blessed.
Be blessed and have an amazing rest of your day.
Yes.
Go get some clarity.
There you go.